Illinois Stories is brought to you by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by the support of viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello, welcome to Illinois Stories. I'm Mark McDonald in Quincy. At the Quincy Junior High School, which wasn't always the Quincy Junior High School, this was finished in 1933 as the Quincy Senior High School, and it was an immense project at that time during the Depression. It since has become the junior high school, but it retains all of the beauty and flavor and the fine craftsmanship that it did when it was built in 1933. And interesting, here at the junior high school, they have some of the students who are prepared to give us a look through here. And Danica Clark, Danica Clark, thank you very much. Yep. You did a little homework for us, didn't you? Since this building is so big and it has such interesting architecture, you did a little homework. So what did you learn about it?
The windows are lancet windows, which means they're tall and narrow. And then on the sides of the building, there's lattice work. And there's gremlins at the top of the building.
Let's just wait a second and look at those gremlins, because if you walk under the building, it almost looks like they're going to pounce down on top of you, doesn't it? Yeah. And they're just hanging out there. I don't know if any other kids your age go to a school with gremlins, do they? Is it a little spooky?
Probably not. Sometimes it feels like they're following you. If you really look at them at times, it feels like they're following you throughout the school. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, did you learn what style of architecture this school is when you were doing your homework?
It's Gothic.
It's Gothic. And how do you know that?
Because of all the arches and stuff, it have Gothic styles, and it expressed the seriousness of education.
Very good, very good. And above the arches, when you look at those pillars, they're like other Gothic arches at the top. Those have the windows, and those are the lancet windows you're talking about, right?
Right.
Okay. And also, if we look at the word junior at junior high school, you can kind of see that it used to say SE for senior, but now it says junior, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you like going to school here?
Yeah.
Is it interesting to? I mean, it's an old building, right?
It is.
Yeah. Do you like old buildings?
Yeah, they have a lot of architectural.
They have a lot
features.
of character, doesn't it? And during this program, we're going to get a chance, and another one of your fellow students is going to help us, but also some of the adults that work here are going to show us some of the finer points of the building. We're going to go in the theater, for the auditorium for one thing. Isn't that neat?
Yes.
You're not in an orchestra by any chance, are you?
I'm in choir.
Oh, you're in choir. So do you get to sing in that space?
Yes.
Oh, good for you. Okay. Well, listen, why don't you and I go in, and we'll meet one of your other students who can help us out inside, okay?
Okay.
All right. Well, Olivia Dom, you're in the 8th grade here, right?
Yep.
Okay. And when I was in the 8th grade, when I walked into my junior high school, I wouldn't have thought anything about the lobby. I would have just gone to my classroom, my locker room as fast as I can. Do you ever take a look around here when you come in this place?
Yes, I always do, actually.
Do you really?
Like this building.
It is beautiful, isn't it?
Yes.
This is the first thing you see if you stop in the lobby to take a look. What is this?
This is the school monogram, and then that goes out into the chevrons, which come over here, and these go to the chevrons. And then there's Art Deco everywhere around us, and they have
Art Deco. Now that was a period of time, right, where they were. It was the 30s, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was really important to the architecture of a building.
And what do you see there that reminds you of Art Deco?
The arch that goes up, and it's a marble arch, and then it goes to the columns too, which are part of the Art Deco.
Now, is this the column you're talking about here? Okay. Well, it's a good strong feature though too, isn't it?
Yeah, they're really pretty. And then those are called ziggurats, those light fixtures, and they're like terraced so that each step you go up is smaller, and it makes it really big, and it's very pretty.
It does. Makes it look even higher, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So you appreciate this when you come in every day, huh? Well, that's pretty nice. That's pretty nice that you've learned that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Kathy Dooley, you can't see the junior high school without seeing Morrison Theater, because this is a real gem, isn't it?
Absolutely.
When they built this in the 30s, of course, that would have been. How do you describe the architecture of
this? Is Art Deco.
It's
Art Deco style, right?
And it's high class Art Deco too, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And many of the buildings in Quincy, people really had a respect and great awe of great architecture from many of the buildings. And so when they went to go build junior high school, and especially this showcase facility, they really did a great job of respecting
you can see
everything
how
about
huge
it.
it is too.
Yes.
I mean, 2,500 seats.
Absolutely.
Most schools that have an auditorium will seat 500 or 600 people. So this is really over the top.
Yes, it is.
And there was a big effort. When things get to be about 80 years old, oftentimes they deteriorate. There's a big effort in the 80s to bring this back to its original splendor.
Yes, Paul Duker and a group of students really spearheaded a fundraising effort, and I believe it was about $300,000 that they raised to have the entire facility, especially the chairs. So you might be able to see later on that they were all originally wooden chairs, and we still have some that students use, but they raised enough money to replace all of our chairs with these cushioned seats, and then they also repainted the entire facility and redid some of the ceiling, and they used in the preface of all the front of the balcony there. I know I was told the story that it's golden lined in between each there, and at that time in 1985 it was about $135 a quart to be able to restore that to its original splendor. And it's really just, and then since 1985 I know there have been other painting jobs during the summer where they came in and restored some of the paint, and we're just about to the point where we probably need to restore the chairs again. But 2 years ago, together with some of the other wonderful fundraising groups, the Quincy Symphony, the Society of Fine Arts, and the Civic Music Association, we got together with our Quincy Foundation to restore the lighting in here, or bring it up to date. So a lot of the electrical had to be improved. Paul Denkla came in and added this facade up at the top here to add that lighting to so we really brought it up to date about 2 years ago.
And while we're looking up there, you can see the features. So when the architecture designed this Art Deco theater, the features are all there. Look at the chandeliers and the
chandeliers are really amazing. If you look how, and our custodial staff does an amazing job keeping them that way. That's one of the biggest things that I've always.
And these big, heavy curtains that cover the windows. I mean, this is everything. It's very large, and it's amazing that as big as this is, it still doesn't look heavy. It has a lightness to it, which is really nice.
Well, the people spent a lot of time in all these committees doing it right, and that was very, very important.
Let's go up on the stage.
Sure.
After you. And of course they're granite. The stairs are granite.
Absolutely right. And these bars were just recently, I would say, these are only 6 years old.
New brass bars, huh?
New brass bars to help with that. But for all the other years, it never had any railings or anything like that.
Plenty of backstage space. Now, we should note that the Quincy Symphony Orchestra uses this regularly. And then I asked you the question earlier. Well, in addition to them, who uses this regularly? And you filled me in. I had no idea the amount of musical activity that the students do on this stage.
Absolutely, every single day. So we have 3 orchestras that meet here daily, and then almost, I would say, bi-weekly it's used by the community, and so it's a huge resource for the community. So our Civic Music Association will bring in, they just had the Moscow Ballet here. We have all of our dance companies in Quincy. They come in and give their recitals here.
Famously, you had the Mormon Tabernacle Choir here.
The Chicago Symphony Orchestra performed on here. There was just the Russian accordion orchestra was just here. They bring in some great names. The Kronos Quartet, who includes one of our Quincyans. I think is one of the most famous in the world.
And your kids, you have enough kids interested in music just in this junior high school that you have 3 orchestras.
Oh, absolutely,
that work on
and 3 bands
regularly.
and 6 choirs. Right?
And you have, of course, you have a band room too.
Correct.
So while it's very, very active. Well, this is a real eye opener. This is a remarkable space. It really is.
The floor is the original floor. and we used to have a custodian who was really sort of, people feared him because
stay off my floor.
Well, no, he really never allowed anyone to put a nail in the floor, and I don't know if that's up to date because our current custodian is probably a little bit more conducive to like the people coming in, but I believe there's never been a nail put in the floor here, and they refinish it every year, and it's just like it's a beautiful floor, but it is the original wood.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Well, Jim Baker, you're the building superintendent. Is that right?
Building supervisor.
Building supervisor. So you know every nook and cranny of this place, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I know all of them, but I know quite a few.
Well, you worked here for 28 years, right?
Going on 27,
Yeah.
28, yes.
Okay. This is an interesting concept. We're right below the auditorium now.
Yes.
And I guess when this school opened in the 30s, they didn't really know what they were going to do with this space, but in retrospect, it became a shooting range. And the Quincy Junior High School has become, and high school, have become really good shooters, haven't they?
Yes, they have.
It's a heck of a sport. You can see in this old trophy case here. Some of these trophies are newer for the rifle team, but that old silver cup right there, that goes back to 1939. So shortly after the school opened, they were already having some success as shooters.
Yes.
And these over here, you can see that these are much more recent. And gosh, you even had a female as a national champion, which is very, very impressive. But as we look out here, you can see that there's all kinds of stations, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. There's like 20 stations here for the kids to shoot. You think it's pretty good discipline, isn't it?
It is. It is. You have to be well disciplined.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting though. They obviously they can't bring their guns to school with them.
No.
How does that work?
They have them stored here in the vault, which only the coach has the key to get in there, and he's the only one that I'm assuming knows the combination to the vault. So they are, the guns are stored on the premises.
Yeah.
They don't take them in and out.
And these are air guns that they shoot in here,
Yes.
right? The students shoot air guns. Although you all have a local gun club that shoots live ammunition in here,
Yes.
so it's built for live ammunition and it can take it, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'll tell you what, I love these charcoal drawings that the kids over the years have done up here. You can say, God knows how old that is, but it looks to me like it's from the 30s and the 40s, very possibly. It's very interesting what they've
I would say, because this one here looks like old military.
And some of the signs are so old too. And we've got some old pictures over here from, there's a dedication here. The Quincy High Rifle Range, this was originally, as we knew, it was built as a high school, so it was the Quincy High Rifle Range. But this was dedicated in 1937. So that was, 4 years after the school opened. So this was probably not planned as part of the original thing, but they found a good use for it. And then there's some old photos there of from the 30s and 40s. There's 1939. And that's the year that we saw that big silver cup. So they've been having success here for a long time. Well, Jim, let's go down to one of these target areas and see how this works. So this is your station. If this is my station, I stand here.
Yes,
and
that's
my target, right?
Yes, you would be on this side. You'd be on lane 10.
Okay.
So you target.
Okay. So I'm shooting. If I'm a kid, if I'm a junior high school kid, I'm shooting an air rifle at those targets right there.
Yes.
And then if I want to know if I've had any success, how do I do that?
You grab this, bring it down, and the target will come to you.
Oh, good. It's pretty fast too. And each one of these stations has the same kind of setup, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So once you check your target and/or change it out.
Okay, can you lift it up so we can take a look at it? There you go. Okay. This way. Come back, come back. We can't get it back, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, no big deal. You don't want to walk down there because somebody else might be shooting.
True.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
if you get it stuck halfway, the best way to do it is run it all the way back up, let it go back, and then bring it back down again.
Can you pull that up for us so we can take a look at it? There we go. Okay. You can see somebody, wow. somebody was pretty good. Look at, let me get my light out of the light there. Look at all those holes right through the middle of the bullseye there. I don't blame them for saving this one. Yeah. So then you put a new one on there, send it down, and shoot again, huh?
Put a new one on, run it back up.
A junior high with a shooting range.
And you start the process all over again.
Yep. Well, Dick Moore, talk about history. Here we are in Quincy Junior High School. Your dad taught here, you went to school here, you taught here, and now your daughter teaches here, right?
True,
what
right.
a family affair, huh?
It's neat. My dad taught here when the school opened up in 1933.
Is that
called
right?
Manual Arts. And then I graduated here in 1954. And then I came back here, and I guess it was 1958, and taught junior high school for about 4 years. And then I went on in administration at the high school later on.
Yeah.
And my daughter now teaches
and she
here
teaches
now.
here too,
Right.
ninth grade English. Huh?
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this, as we look at this place, this gym, you taught phys ed, right?
Right,
This gym has changed very little from the day it was opened, right?
Yeah, it's the only thing we don't have in here is the place would be packed with it on a basketball game night. Yeah, George Latham was the coach here at that time when I was here.
Yeah.
And it got its name, this gym was changed from QHS Gymnasium to Latham's Dungeon.
Oh, is that right?
Because it was so dark in here, and the coach from Pinckneyville didn't like it, so he called it Latham's Dungeon.
He didn't like to bring his players
No,
in
he didn't
here,
like to do that.
Oh,
no.
man.
No, it's still the same facility. I mean, it looks just like it did before.
And
Better
this-
lighting now, of course.
The floor that you all complained about as being so dark.
Yeah.
This has held up all those
Oh,
years,
yeah.
right? I mean, this is they didn't have to replace this except for it got wet a couple of times.
Yeah,
and they had to
right.
replace part of
That
it. Huh?
happens
But it's
when you
held
get it.
up.
It's really-
They built this building to stay, didn't
Yes,
they?
they did. Yes, they did. Yeah, yeah. It's a really special in Quincy people's thought that went through school here.
Yeah.
When it was a high school.
And then after you taught here, you went on to become an administrator.
Right.
And you stayed in the Quincy schools your whole career?
Right, I did, except for 1 year when I was in Nauvoo, but otherwise I was here the whole time and retired in 1993.
Yeah.
So.
And you don't mind coming back? do
Oh
you?
no, I still do a lot of things at the Quincy schools, volunteer and things like that. Yeah, it's a wonderful place to be.
This is a remarkable facility. I mean,
is.
you've been in a lot of schools, I take it, and you don't see many junior highs like this, do you?
That's true. It's great. Yeah, it's a good place to be. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mike Creek, for about 10 years, you were in this school all the time because when they needed a substitute teacher, no matter what subject it was, they called you, right?
Yes, I was permanent sub here for 10 years. And so whenever poor Carolyn was looking for a sub, I'd say, fill out all the subs that you need, then I'll take what's left over. And then if she didn't have subs for that day, then I'd work as a secretary, or I'd work, walk in the halls of security, or whatever they needed me to do.
Did you, now we're in the science part of it, did you ever teach science?
Yes, I did. I taught in this room, and then I helped set up the greenhouse, or when it was first built, it was called the conservatory. And at one time, the reason I helped save it was the board at one time was thinking of doing away with it. And they were just, because technically at the time it was leaking, the water was coming through the glass and stuff, so it had served its time, but it hadn't been repaired. And so Ken Carson, who was a science teacher at the time, and myself, we got together a program called Be a Pane. Adopt a pane of glass.
Okay, yeah.
And so the people of this town were phenomenal. They came through. We were able to replace all the glass, put aluminum in place of the outside wood. They came in, redid some of the plumbing. Unfortunately, we can't finish the fountain like it originally was.
Well, let's go take a look at it. As long as we're talking about
let's
it.
Let's go this way. Go through the door. These are original doors.
I don't think there are too many junior highs that have a greenhouse.
No, not really.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And they're using it now. And as you can see, the fountain area is, well, it's a little dilapidated because the plumbing, the groundwork settled, cracked the plumbing to where we can't put water in it. It'll hold water, and we'd have to put it in by hand. But the fountain would work, and they used to have goldfish in there and everything, and water plants.
Well, look at the tile. It's original tile.
It's original tile work,
It's
and
beautiful.
if you look closely on the sides, it has QHS in the side of the tile work in certain areas to show that it was the Quincy High School.
Yeah, and the quarry tile, I assume, is original as well. And the framework, except for the glass.
The framework is the original
too, huh?
wood.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I asked one of the greenhouse owners here in town, and he said they went to no expense to put wood in for this greenhouse. And actually, he said it's just amazing how well it stood up to the test of time. And these windows can be opened by hand. You have the little rollers there on each side where you can roll them open, and it'll vent it. And then we can put screening up so it can be used during. Oh, it definitely gets hot in here during the summer.
On an overcast winter day, you're going to want this, and this,
this kicks
is
on
electric,
automatic.
I guess. But most of the time, you don't need it.
No,
because
not really, because of the heat that's conserved in here.
What a great facility for junior high kids to learn from, isn't it?
Yeah, and they do like this area here. They're learning how to do cuttings and stuff from the geraniums to propagate them, and then they have the other plants that they were working with.
Very, very interesting. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Dr. George Meyer, when you walk in Quincy Junior High School, how do you feel when you walk in here? This was your first job as a young teacher, right, in this school?
It's always coming home. It's always coming home, and it's like a wow, even to this day, just to see the beauty of this building and the marble and the auditorium and the staircases. It's just an amazing building.
It's a mammoth building too.
Yes, it is. It is mammoth. You can put on a lot of miles walking around this building, and I did when I was teaching, because I would teach a health class in the morning, and then I would go to a math class, and it would be on the opposite side. In the afternoon, I would teach physical education, and it would be down in the gym. So I stayed in shape just by moving around the building.
You and the students stay in good shape, just getting around up and down. It's like 5 floors, right? So up and down all the time. When you first started here, you were a student teacher, and then your first job as a teacher was here, and you taught here, I think for 9 years. And for a brand new teacher, what kind of an experience was this?
It was scary as a student teacher, because I had never been in a building this size with that many kids. And in fact, my supervising teacher from the university said, when the bell rings, just grab a hold of a locker and hang on. And he said, let them go by.
Because it's like a river, right?
Yeah, right. Just running through it, running through it.
Well, you had a very interesting career, because you went from teaching here as a student teacher and a young teacher, and you stayed in education your whole life, and ended up as the superintendent of schools in the Quincy district, which is pretty remarkable.
It is. That doesn't happen in very many districts, especially now as superintendents move around a lot.
Yeah.
But stay in one district your whole career. It was wonderful for me. It doesn't fit everybody, but it fit me.
Yeah.
My wife started teaching here with me, and the same year we started together. And after 4 years, she became an old retired school teacher and started having kids. And so we raised all our kids here, and they went through all the buildings and junior high here also.
And now here you are back in here again. Feels pretty like home, huh?
Yep. It's always like coming home. In fact, tomorrow they're doing a tribute to me out of an agency here in town, and it's going to be filmed here because this is where I got my start.
Wow. Well, Dr. Meyer, thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being with you.
Well, Dan Sparrow, it isn't many junior high schools that can claim that on each corner of their massive building that they have these wonderful stained glass windows depicting historical moments.
Right.
It's really something.
Yeah, we something to obviously very proud of. Our students take notice of it. It's something that when we run our leadership opportunities here at the school, kids are able to track down through here and obviously the beauty of it. And each one of the stained glass has different components to it, and represents the 4 corners of the different floors.
We were looking at Lewis and Clark here, right?
Yes.
But other significant moments in American history, there's one of Betsy Ross, the creator of the flag, right?
We have DeSoto crossing the Mississippi.
Well, and particularly important here at Quincy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the last one is of the founders in naming of Quincy.
Very, very. When you come to work here every day, do you know how special it is when you walk in the building?
Yes. When I was a student here back in the 80s, you didn't really, you kind of took it for granted, because it was always here, I guess. And, as a kid, you were just worrying about where the next class was going to be and just in all of the size. When I came back to become principal of the building, it was rather almost intimidating, but yet when you start getting the history of the building and talking to different people, do you truly appreciate what it is? And so, when you're conducting an assembly in front of 1,500 kids in the auditorium that we have, I'm just amazed that you don't see that in many schools, and they just don't build it like this anymore.
No, they don't. And it's interesting that they went to all this expense, and they really spared almost no expense in the very beginning of the Depression. I mean, this was not an easy time.
Right.
Goodness.
And the forethought to think that Quincy was going to expand even at that time.
Yeah.
And so it's stood the test of time, and will probably always be here. It's built to last.
It'll always be here, but you always go through changes, and you're going to go through another change soon, aren't you?
Yes. Well, we're in the last year of this building, a 7 through 9 building. We will be a 6-8 middle school, and we're running the middle school model. And obviously, feel very fortunate to have a building like this to do it in, but it does have its limitations with technology. Back in 1930s, they didn't think about the technology and going through 3-foot thick walls and that type of thing. But we're very pleased about what we're able to do here and give our kids a wonderful education and a wonderful building.
Yeah, it is a beautiful place. Thanks for inviting us in. We might mention that it was so quiet here today because this is the Christmas break, right?
Yes, Christmas break.
So I kind of wanted that because the kids they're great to be around, but it is a little chaotic sometimes, and we got a lot of peace and quiet here today. We got to see the school sort of without a lot of interruptions. So thank you for that.
No, I appreciate you coming in. Thank you.
Well, some say it is built like a fortress. And not much has changed physically to this grand old building since it was started in 1931, but big changes are coming to Quincy Junior High School. Next year, it will no longer be 7th, 8th, and 9th graders here. It'll be 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. And they're making plans for that big change right now. With another Illinois story in Quincy, I'm Mark McDonald. Thanks for watching.
Illinois Stories is brought to you by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by the support of viewers like you. Thank you. For a DVD copy of the program you've just seen, send 1995 to Network Knowledge, P.O. Box 6248, Springfield, Illinois 62708. Be sure to include the program name, subject, and when the program aired. You can also order with your credit card by calling 800-232-3605.